Hello my dear friends. Once we have completed data collections, data analysis, reporting and interpretation, after that what we have to do with our research work? Because we have completed whole research processes. So after that it's important for every researcher to communicate your research. So that's why we are going to discuss communication of research. Dictionary meaning of communication is imparting or exchanging the information by speaking, writing or using some other medium. So communication of research is simplification of complex research process to make even non-experts to understand the undertaken research in terms of benefits to humanity and society. It is process of interpretation of research to bring information and context of understanding so that policymakers or maximum people can easily understand and utilize the taken study. It's communication that determines the effectiveness of research. So it must address immediate beneficiaries, importance and relevancy. Along with researchers themselves, journals, different types of media, scientific proceedings like workshops, seminars, training, etc. are the medium of communication for researchers. Few of researchers are able to directly target their end users. End users means beneficiaries of researches. This depends upon the value of output with understanding of accessibilities. So this all depends upon researchers, as communication in this case involves speaking in public events, attending interviews in media, writing articles or letters, or by using any effective media for global communication. For these questions should be, as research needs while answer should be according to ultimate users. This is a very important point. Your questions should be according to the need of research, while answers should be according to the need of people. So what people expect from your research, that must be answered while you are communicating your research. Here are some important points to consider for communication of research. First is audience. Audience may be scientists or experts of field or any other researchers or scholars who are learning researches or policymakers or journalists, academicians or lay public or civil society organizations, NGOs, etc. So we have to think about those audiences or readers, how they will respond, whether they are able to understand your communication or not. Accordingly, we have to communicate. Then second point is message. Message must emphasize on benefits for society, humanity, for education purpose, etc. And for all of this, medium must be easier, accessible, relevant and meaningful for selected audience. Suppose if you are going to present in region, so in that specific region, you have to use the languages what they can understand in very well way. If it is oral presentation. But for global audience, we usually use English. So for this, some of the skills are needed, like organized thinking to present idea. Organized thinking means your thinking must be in very systematic way, once followed by others. Then differentiation and understanding of audience as per research subject must be there, and proficiency in English for global audience with utilization of technical dictionaries should be there, because when you are using those softwares usually like Microsoft Word and all, so there for a lot of technical wordings they used to show that spelling is mistake is there. So for this we have to use technical dictionaries like medical dictionaries, technology dictionaries and specific dictionaries are there. Then computerized presentation skill at least at basic level must be there. So these are some of the needed skills for communication of research. Now you see the various modes of scientific communications. It may be through writing scientific papers, writing scientific reports, writing project proposals, writing blogs, web page, on websites, etc. Or through scientific presentation using oral medium, posters, etc. in various scientific proceedings. So these are the various modes of scientific communications. Now today we will see this scientific paper writing. This is mode of communication of research with other experts or people interested in topic. Authors present the research in logical and ordered manner. Traditionally, imparting structure is dominant since 20th century for presentation across the globe. If you see the full form of acronym imparting, that includes introduction, materials and methods, result and discussion. Some of the authors have presented IMRD form, which means abstract, introduction, materials and method, result and discussion. The best way of writing a paper is to follow the guidelines of journal for authors where you want to publish your research. So for that journal's guideline we have to follow. Some of the points are covered like first, title. So title must describe the contents of paper, like this pharmacological evaluation of whole plant of Inula kappa. So here Inula kappa whole plant. Pharmacognosy is present in this paper. Pharmacognosy means that's collection of materials from the specific area, then your macroscopic and microscopic study, that's about your all morphological studies and anatomical studies, and then after that chemical studies. So these all are the parts of pharmacognostical evaluation. So this title itself is describing about the contents of the paper. Then name of author and co-authors should be given with detail of their designation and contact. Specifically you will find in lot of journals their mail IDs are given if anyone is having query, so they can contact the author, specifically corresponding author we used to find. Then it is followed by abstract. Abstract is preview of article usually covered in maximum 250 words. However, some journals specify this portion too, how many words you have to use. This is summary of a whole work, but only important points are taken. Abbreviations and citations are not included in abstract portion. Then we have to write introduction. There is nothing word like introduction you have to write. Just you have to start. It is imaginary. It is thought that it is presented as introduction. That introduction includes various parts like background of study in reference to problem statement. Then we have to ask question of research. Then why it is interesting, and support this with other relevant literatures, citing references. Questions must be relevant, measurable and feasible. Then we narrow down the questions to give clear idea about the topic, and then we specify how this topic is different from others, and then objectives of our study should be included with hypothesis, and outline of approach of undertaken research is given over there. So all points should come in flow, as one must be linked with other. So introduction portion, basically if you see, we come from generalized to specific one. After introduction, materials and methods portion comes. This portion details about the procedures opted for research and materials used in completion of those procedures. Materials and methods deal with study area, especially in observational research, field methods or laboratory methods, that depending upon the work we are taking, and data processing, specifically for statistical analysis procedure to be taken. Then in case of clinical study, place of study, details of subject selection, sampling techniques, inclusion and exclusion criteria, interventional regimes like dose, duration, etc. Then statistical procedures, what we are going to use, these things should be given. After that, result portion is coming. This portion deals with outcome of research done on undertaken topic. This is related to data presentation or data reporting, not interpretation, because interpretation will come in discussion portion. Presentation of data should follow same sequence what we have done in materials and methods. Data are presented in forms of tables, graphs, figures, maps, etc. with accompanying text. Repetition of data presentation should not be done, as same data once presented in tabular form should not be presented in graphical form or other forms. Similar way, we should not just repeat the different types of presentation. Only once any type you have taken, that's enough for presentation. Then it comes to discussion portion. This is the portion of data interpretation and comparison of data. Interpretation means what is inferred from result. Every portion should be supported by evidences and proper citations. Consequences and implications of taken research problems and hypotheses are discussed here, or the consequences and implications of taken research problems and hypotheses are discussed here. Imaginary ideas are avoided in this case. Result is not repeated here. Then we come to conclusion portion. In conclusion, important findings are summarized. We usually answer to research question, whatever we have presented. New facts are not added on. This is followed by acknowledgement. Acknowledgement portion, we usually appreciate all who are directly connected to the study or whom help we had taken during the study. So those people are appreciated in this portion. On the last of this comes to references. References should be included according to the style suggested in a specified journal, in which journal we are going to publish our paper. List of all literatures concerned during the study should be added. Most of journals now follow listings in number. However, some of them may follow alphabetical or other rules. But this is the common things we usually find in references portion. With this way we usually write a scientific paper. So thank you. Thank you all. If you like this lecture, subscribe this channel, like and share this post. We are working to cover whole syllabus of BMS final year and PG first year for research methodology and biostatistics. Thank you all.